and welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart, and I'm all by myself today. I'm sure you're all wondering where my amazing co-host Tim Moss is. He had to take care of something, so he couldn't be here today, and I miss him terribly, and I'm dancing by myself. But you know what? If all of you are watching me, then I'm not so all alone, am I? Right. So I hope everybody is having a really wonderful Wednesday. And for those of you who are tuning in today from LA, because we have a guest from there, I hope your weather has certainly warmed up. This has been so crazy lately. My girlfriend who lives in Laguna sent me a picture of her hummingbird feeder that was frozen. The hummingbirds were like not even flying around. I bet they were wearing parkas and were up in the trees somewhere. But I digress. So what a week it has been. Jesse Luttrell, who's been a guest on this show, did his amazing show at the Triad Theater to celebrate his 40th birthday. My God, 40 years. I can't believe it. And it was absolutely sensational, followed by an amazing party after at a place called Gossip. And we all had a great time. And I've been raving about Jesse's rendition of Music the Night from Phantom, because it is one of my favorite songs and he did it so incredibly beautiful. Last night we were here at PANGEA. We had a reading from Laurie Towers' husband John Pietro, who has a book, Bleeding in Black Leather. I love that title. I really do. I wore black leather, but I wasn't bleeding all over it. And we did a lot of spoken word, followed by jazz musicians. Different people came up and read. We've always got something incredible going on at PANGEA, so please stop on in here. Right after we finished the book signing, we had Kobe Cole's Nouveau Riche, where, I mean, so consistently, the artists that he brings in here, whether they are up and coming or you've seen them on Broadway or in any club, they are all phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that. It takes a lot to float my boat. You all know that. So, and this Saturday here at PANGEA, the amazing Maria Connor, another one from California, who is going to be doing her one girl show here. It's called Girl Shock. And when you come and see the show, you will understand why Maria calls it that. So if you're in town, if you're in New York, please stop in and make sure that you visit us. So we have a wonderful guest today, come all the way from LA, but not really, not in the physical sense, in the streaming sense. I am totally thrilled to have this person. He is an independent musician. His music is singer, songwriter, folk, pop, blues, all rolled into one with such an emotional base. If you hear the lyrics on his songs, and of course we're going to play the clips later in the show, oh my gosh, just reach down into a place that a lot of other artists don't get to, and that is the best I can say. He just had a hot concert at the Hotel Cafe in LA, and I am just thrilled, and I want to thank my amazing friend Patrick Conceal, who is a music publisher, artist developer, just a real pro in the music industry. This is one of Patrick's amazing people. Let us all welcome Michael BAYWUD.
Hello, how's it going?
It's great. Was that okay?
Absolutely.
Intro.
Yeah. My artist name is BAYWUD.
Okay, and your artist name is BAYWUD, and that's how we have it up here.
Yeah, but call me Michael. I
could just call you Michael. Okay, you could just call me Wendy.
Okay.
But you know what? Because like I was also Countess Wendy and Viscountess Wendy, but now I'm Discountess Wendy. Don't even worry.
Oh my.
Because I'm a member of the Imperial Court of New York. So yeah. That's it on me. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. First of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. You are on fire. You have a hot new album out.
I do. It just came out on last Thursday, the 23rd.
And it was Patrick's birthday that day too.
Yes.
You plan it that way? Was that like a birthday gift?
No. It just happened to be that way.
Don't we love that when things in life work that way, right? And then you just had this concert at the hotel. Tell us about here in New York what Hotel Cafe is like.
So Hotel Cafe is it's in Hollywood. It's a venue it's not a hotel or a cafe, but
I
it's
kind of figured it might not
yeah,
be.
yeah. It's a venue that is very well known here in LA in the music industry. A lot of independent artists perform there and songwriters. Every night they'll have a show there.
Right.
And they also bring back artists who are, all sorts of artists who come back and perform there at the Hotel Cafe. So it's a really great venue. I love what they do for songwriters and artists.
Right. I would imagine a place like that is very good on getting people exposed and bringing in people that can help people's careers.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. How many now the venue, how many seats does it hold? I have reasons,
It's
by the way, for asking all
it's
this.
about 300, I believe.
So
It's
this is
it's
a very large
It's
wow.
a not a huge venue, but it's pretty intimate. But they have a main stage, a larger stage, which I performed on, and then they have like a standing only stage in
Wow.
another room.
So how did all of this happen for you, Michael? You woke up one day and decided to take all your creativity and put it out there on the world?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I grew up performing on the stage in theater and musical theater, and
Okay.
took voice lessons and all that, and I learned the piano at a very young age. So I've
Yeah,
always
I'd love to know people's timelines with this because obviously you're musically gifted. Then you,
oh,
if
thank
you
you.
started this as a kid, first of all, where did you grow up?
Well, that's kind of a so I was born in Miami, Florida, and
Okay,
then moved around a lot as a kid because my dad was in the military.
I was going to say you're an army
Yeah,
brat. I
I'm an
knew it.
army. Yeah,
I'm like I said to myself, that Baywood, he's an army brat.
that's me.
I
That's
mean,
me.
well, the moving around a lot is always a big giveaway. So,
Yeah, so we moved around a lot when I was a kid and went up north to Illinois for a bit, and then I settled. Really, I spent most of my sort of formative years in Texas.
wow.
Yeah.
Which part of
So
Texas are you from?
Tyler, Texas. It's a small town right east of Dallas. So it's like
Okay.
northeast kind of Texas.
So it's not that far from Dallas. You know,
No, yeah.
like you weren't out there with like cattle and sheep and stuff.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no.
I asked the question. This is something I find amazing. I have incredible people come on this show that are, major names that grew up on small farms in small places where no one knows your name, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and it always amazes me that I grew up in New York, and to me, it's like if you want to do things big, you can do them here. And if you
yeah,
grow up here, you have everything at your fingertips.
yeah,
People that come from another place, that don't have the background and they have to just launch themselves. It's a whole other ball of wax to be able to do that.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did live in New York briefly. I went to the School for Film and Television, which is a
Oh,
film
of
acting.
course I know. Of course I know that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was wow. What made you decide to go there?
I mean, I grew up as an actor, and I kind of I've always been musical, and acting was sort of initially what I wanted to do. And so I studied film acting because I was always a theater kid.
Right.
Um, so did that in New York, and then ended up moving out to Los Angeles. Um, and it's a lot of rejection in the acting
Oh,
world.
you think?
Yeah, it's a lot of rejection, and it was kind of a bit hard for me because I'm so used to taking a script and like really delving into the character, and it was just when I came to LA, it was like one audition after another, learning a page of lines, and it just got really hard. The rejection for me, I think. So,
Thank you, by the way, for being honest about that. My
oh,
co-host Tim and I, because we both are actors, we talk about that a lot because you're really bringing up something that's true for so many people. And when I meet young kids that want to become performers, of course, you tell them, listen, get ready for the rejection. You can tell somebody that, but
yeah,
when they're experiencing it themselves, as you did, and you give 100%, you did an unbelievable job. I go up for things and I know I did an incredible job.
yeah,
And then it's like, I don't know, did I remind like the casting director of his ex-wife? And
yeah,
that's funny. But you know, Michael, you don't know what the variables are,
You
right?
don't, or if you don't know if the producer has someone that they're wanting to get,
Right.
on. So there's a lot of different variables, and it that just sort of took a lot out on my self uh,
Image.
image and self confidence and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I sort of stopped, and I started, I always played the piano, and so I just kind of sat down and started trying to write music and realized that I had a knack for it. So
That's really amazing because prior to that, I know you're musical, but there's a difference between someone that is proficient at playing instruments and actually writing. You were able to sit down and start to write music.
yeah, yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing at first. I mean, I just said it. I was just kind of was sort of doing it as a therapeutic kind of way to kind of get at my emotions and my feelings out. Um, and then I would kind of share with friends, and this is early on. And people really responded well to it. So I thought, okay, there's something
This is
here,
this is it.
and it's something that I could hold and keep to myself. And it was completely mine, and I didn't have to worry if anybody wanted to accept it or not because it was something I created, and so that's
You
sort of where
birthed
the
it.
I did. I did,
You
yeah.
birthed it, right, and that is a good point. No one can take that away from you. When you're reading a script, those are words that somebody else wrote, and
Yeah,
as much as you delve into it and they always say, "Oh, make it your own," that's a whole different thing than where your music is coming from and the
yeah.
lyrics that you're actually writing. I'm curious, you're an Army vet, right? Was your dad, who's in the military,
Yeah.
was your family supportive of your creativity?
They absolutely were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
I
to
mean,
hear
from
that.
very, very young, they supported it 1,000,000%. Yeah.
Great, I love hearing that.
I don't think they didn't miss any of my, theater shows, or made every single one. They're the most supportive parents I could have asked for.
Oh gosh, well, I hope they see this interview.
They're watching now, so hi mom,
Yay!
hi dad.
Thank you for having a creative child and getting behind them 100%. We'll be right back in 2 seconds with our amazing guest, Baywood.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. So people were responding positively to your music that you were writing. And what was like your first? Did you? So I know a lot of people in the music industry, but I never know the process. Like friends of mine are like, they're writing, they're putting things up on Spotify. What was your process initially?
I mean, initially, I have to kind of give it to Patrick Kinsey, because I had written a lot of music and songs, but Patrick really, once I met him, he sort of we took the ground running, and he introduced me to a lot of different producers and songwriters, and I have a publishing company that pitches to film and television shows, and so he really sort of is the reason I'm sort of where I'm at right now.
So this, I think you brought out an incredible point. I mean, I love Patrick to death,
I do too.
personal friend, but beyond that, he is the fiber that was put beneath you to get everything rocking and rolling. And so many people try in this industry to find the right person, and it is very, very, very difficult.
It
So,
is, and I got lucky because Patrick is a veteran and has been in this business for so
yeah.
long. So I am so grateful every single day for him, because he's the hardest working manager. He does so many things, and I'm just so lucky to have him. So
And I will second that, and he does it all with a French accent, which
he
makes it
does.
even it's
Yeah.
just nice to listen
It's
to.
always nice to listen to him
It's
talk.
it's
Yeah.
always nice. So he is really responsible for getting you off the ground.
Yep.
Prior to that, were you clubs? Like, what was
Oh, sorry,
your
it cut out.
story?
What was that?
Before that, were you performing in clubs or doing, small venues to get yourself out there?
No, not really. No. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I
So
love your story already. That's
thanks.
really interesting. 'Cause you started at where a lot of people are working themselves up to,
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
So I'm
And
very fortunate. Yeah.
yeah, you are really, really fortunate. So your music, what inspires you? Because I actually went through anything that I could find. I love to. This is a great job for me because I'm an investigative kind of person in my real life. I ask lots of questions, and
Yeah.
I was pulling things out. Your the lyrics and things that you like. I was born with chains around my heart, a prison of my own mind. Maybe I was crazy from the start, an enemy of my own kind. You're It's very self-reflective.
Most of my music, it really is. I struggle with anxiety and depression through my adulthood, and so it's kind of where a lot of my music comes from. So there is a lot of darker themes in my songs, but it's also I try to put a spin on it and have a positive, hopeful, um, you know, feel at the end. So
You do
there's
you and that you that's what, like, and I love that because to me, it's like you use the word darker, and I think in some of the descriptions I read about your work, they use that too. But I don't know, Michael, is it darker or is it being honest?
well,
We
it's
are
definitely being honest.
right, but all of us are so raised to sugarcoat things, right? Oh, I'm fine. Oh, especially if you're an actor or a performer of any kind. It's like, oh, yeah, things are really great.
Right.
And they're not great a lot of this. I'm like, I see the world through rose-colored glasses. You got to know that about me. But I'm also the first person that'll say, this absolutely sucks. Why doesn't anyone else see it? That's what makes me crazy. I feel like I know things. I can see things that no one else does.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that too. I do feel very, I do see, the world with rose-colored glasses as well. And I try to stay positive throughout. And I think that's where really and a lot of times I will push down my feelings, but the way I express them is through my music,
Right.
which is
Right.
healthy, but also, can be not good when I don't really sometimes deal with them the way that I
Right.
should sometimes.
It's hard. I mean, you brought up anxiety and depression, and I think we need to have more of these conversations. Certainly in the arts, we do have these conversations. My daughter brought out to me that because all of my friends are in the arts. These are just the people that I love. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people, but she brought out to me that everyone I know is either anxious ridden, depressed, or has ADD.
Or that's true. I feel like most of the world has ADD now.
Most of the world has ADD now. And it's so but do we think that this is just limited somewhat in the creative industry? Or maybe it's the world has become such a freaking complex kind of place, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it does. I think artists in general maybe struggle. It's more common, I think, for artists to struggle with anxiety, depression, and that kind of thing,
Right.
and drugs and addiction for sure, which is something I've had struggled with in my past as well. So
Wow. Again, my co-host, he does a one-person show about his life, and everyone knows Tim as a very up like Broadway kind of performer, singer. That's not what his show is about. His show is about being off the map for 10 years with drug addiction.
oh
The
wow,
fact right, and
yeah,
the fact that he not only made it back on he's an enigma to me, and from the time I first met him, I knew I wanted to co-host with him because I knew there was something there, something that was really, really special. When you can call out your feelings like that, it's like you've walked the walk that other people have walked, but you're not afraid to talk the talk about it. And
yeah. I think it's important to talk about it, especially for gay youth as well. A lot of people struggle with drugs.
right.
And I think a lot of it comes from being rejected for so long, I think, and not being accepted still to this day. There's so much of that in the world where people are bullied and treated awful. And it's easy to turn to drugs, you
Yeah.
know, because you don't want to feel the pain.
Right. And thank you for bringing that up because in Milford, Pennsylvania, I help run an LGBTQ, and one of the things we deal with, not only with the kids, but the whole school board thing that's happening all over the country. I'm sure
Yeah,
you've heard about that. And I'm sure
absolutely.
you know what's going on in Florida, where their governor can actually come out and say something like, don't say gay, only to be
Yeah.
followed up by pulling Black history at I mean, I look at this, and this is why I say to you, of course, we've got anxiety and depression. Look at
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's sad, and I don't know why it's still okay for that to happen,
Well,
you
but
know?
here's what I believe, right? You're an artist, and I would assume that a lot of the people you know are artists. I really believe that art can change the world.
I
Whether
agree.
you're a painter or a musician or a performer, it's a definite bridge. And right now, I feel like we're all struggling for air because in our society, finance is the thing that's talking right now, right?
Right.
Um, a lack of empathy, all of these things, and the fact that people are not connecting with each other. You know what? It was going that way. The pandemic really put the icing on the cake. And now we have, just to add it in and keep it interesting, the advancement of AI, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and social media has, like, changed everything
Right.
for that.
Right.
Um,
Social media has changed everything. And you know, the thing about being a person in the music industry, you can your product is a pure thing. I'll just put it to you that way.
oh, thank you.
It
Thank you.
is a
Yeah.
pure thing. So, everybody, we are going to be right back in 2 seconds. So, I'm here once again with Baywood. We're having a deep conversation. Y'all know I love to go deep. And when I get somebody I can be a little emo with, all, all the better. So, I wanted to ask you, Baywood, like, in terms of dealing with the nuts and bolts of the music industry, the way getting things on Spotify and all of that works, how does that affect you? I feel like everyone I talk to, the thing is you got to get yourself on Spotify and you have to have so many listeners. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
That is something that can be kind of a struggle sometimes, because I mean, Patrick kind of gets all my stuff on all the music platforms and whatnot, and it's great because, you put a song out that sometimes you don't think is gonna do great, but then you get all these streams from it, and then you get your followers kinda raised, and so you have, a higher, listeners, but then sometimes it'll kinda go like this and go down, so it's a little strange with the algorithms, how Spotify and
Well, that's what I was going to
yeah.
ask you. Like, we were just talking about AI. Let's talk about algorithms.
Yeah, it happens with all artists too. I mean, all of, artists that I know that have the same struggle with it. It's kind of, I don't know why it does that, but it's very confusing sometimes.
It is very, very confusing. I came up in a time where for an artist to be successful, they came out with an album and then they went on tour. And
Yeah.
that was just how you did it. Okay. And then of course, God, I'm dating myself with
No, you're not.
MTV.
You
with with MTV, right? That was like the big game changer. Not only
Yeah.
were you performing live, going on tour, you had the video. Now we still have to have the video, but
Yeah.
it feels like there's so many more components to
There
everything.
is, and before you could sell CDs and albums and that, now it's all streaming,
Right.
so it's kind of changed, it's definitely different now. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you still have to put out content. Patrick's always telling me, you need videos, you need this and that. It's just part of it's all in that algorithm of the internet that
right.
people, you know, find their way through that.
Well, you and I are creating content here today, Baywood. I'm
Yes,
glad
we are. I'm
we
so
are.
happy to be here.
Beautiful content. The whole streaming thing, even for me, when they shut New York down March 12th, everything, I've only ever been a performer, model, spokesperson, comedian, and I've always worked since I'm
Yeah.
21. I never had a survival job. Every single thing that I did came to a crashing halt on March 12th.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And it was just like, holy moly, what the hell do I do with I mean, this wasn't anything that I could have predicted or seen. As a matter of fact, the night before they were going to shut New York down, I think it was the Parkside Lounge on Houston Street. And
Yeah.
Michael C. Hall, you know who
Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
he was there with his band, which is like, I forgot what it's called, like the Iconic Golden Butterfly or something. His daughter named the band that. So he
Yeah.
was performing there, and I went with a bunch of my friends. There were going to be 2 shows, and they were telling us they were shutting down New York. But I have to tell you, I thought to myself, oh, it can't be that bad. It's just they're taking a precaution for a week or so. So I was there, and I noticed there weren't a lot of people in the club except myself and 2 of my friends. And then they canceled the second show and we all had to leave. So I ran out in front, to get my photo ops with Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
I remember looking at him and I'm saying, do you think this shit's real?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was. In no way, shape, or form was I even a little bit prepared for what was coming down the pike.
Me
So for
neither. I don't
you,
think any
what
of
were
us
you
were.
doing when they shut down LA?
It's really crazy because when that happened, I kind of had the same as you, which I think a lot of people did. Were like, "Oh, this is going to be, this is nothing. It'll be over in a week or 2 weeks." And then when it started getting really bad and they started shutting everything down, it was like kind of a panic thing. And especially for artists, all the venues and everything were shut down, so you couldn't
Right.
perform. Um, and even writing, if I when I with my writing partners, we couldn't get together, so um I do have to say that the one good thing about Zoom and all
Yeah,
the,
that's what I was going
video
to ask
stuff,
you.
it did help because I actually wrote a song with 2 producers from the East Coast where you are, all on Zoom. We wrote this whole song,
I
and
love
then
it.
I ended up recording in my studio here. And I'd never met them in person. I still haven't met them in person, and
You
we wrote
still
a
have,
whole.
wow.
I still haven't met them in person, and we wrote 2 whole songs together. And then another one of my writing partners who lives in LA, we did a couple on Zoom, and so it was kind of weird too, also because I like to be in the room whenever I'm writing.
And I hear you loud and clear, but you
Yeah,
were forced, like, so I know so many people that created their work
yeah,
as you did on Zoom. People were filming plays on Zoom. I mean,
yeah,
it was amazing what
yeah.
as human beings, what you're forced to do. Did you find though for you, because you didn't have that touchy-feely thing that you have when someone's in the room with you, did you find that you had to find a different way to work?
Um, not with my writing partner Rune, who is in LA.
Right.
I've known him forever. So for him, it was a lot
It's
easier.
Rune
But
Westberg, right?
yes, Rune Westberg.
Hi, Rune.
Yeah.
Rune.
Hi, Rune. Um, but yeah, so it was, I think, a little easier for us. But even us, we're like, this is so weird. We're doing all this, and if I was on the piano or he on the guitar, and you're trying to do it, there would be a delay, and so it was kind of hard with that. The other thing was just meeting these, 2 that I wrote with from the East Coast who I'd
Yeah.
never met before. So I had the kind of, you want to be in the room when you first meet someone and kind of like get their energy and their feels and whatnot. So it was a little bit hard at the very beginning, but then we just kind of got our groove and started doing it, and ended up writing some really great music.
Isn't that great? So
Yeah,
what we've all learned as human beings, we had to really go with the flow and had to reach out of what our comfort zone was.
absolutely. Yeah. Did you feel that with you too, that it was kind of
I
awkward and
started okay, my story is really bizarre. I became a podcaster. I'm
yeah,
one of these people, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
yeah.
12 hours after they shut New York down, I stood in my kitchen and I said to my husband, who's the videographer, Patrick knows, we make documentaries. I said to him, this is bullshit. I said, I have to come up with something. And I looked at Alan and I said, I'm going to do a cooking show. And he said, Patrick, if Patrick's watching this, he's laughing. My husband says to me, Wendy, you don't cook. I said, exactly. Funny. And I have costumes and I have this great kitchen. It's like a kitschy kitchen, like from the 1950s.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And here I am in New York. And I called the show Pandemic Cooking with Wendy. All
Yeah.
right. And I went and ordered all this food from Fresh Direct. They have ready-made meals that you can cook up yourself that come with instructions. Only
Yeah.
I didn't tell my audience that. And you know what? I themed some of it. I was like, I did one on airline food. So I had like one of those cheesy flight
Airline
attendant
outfits. Oh, I
Halloween
love that.
outfits, the sexy stewardess. Yeah, I did that.
Oh, I
And
wanna see that, Wendy. I wanna see this.
this
Now
is
I
on my
wanna watch
YouTube
it.
channel, Wendy Stuart TV.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I shot 110 of those episodes. And while I was doing that, I came up with the idea. We were all eating outside in New York. Remember, you guys at least had good weather in LA. We were shut down inside in New York, and we froze outside under heat lamps eating. And I was in front of this place on the Lower East Side, which is very well known, launched a million artists from here, PANGEA. And I'm sitting here, and inside of the restaurant, of course, is dark. They had also had an issue with their gas, so whatever they could cook to bring you outside was being done on electric. This whole thing was going on here. And I was with Tym Moss. I'm like, you know what? I said, let's do a podcast. I said, we can do it from here. Every artist is walked through here, these walls. And I said, we'll call it If These Walls Could Talk. And the rest is history.
I love that.
I had to totally change my life. I had to totally change my life. And you know what? We're still there. I am a completely different person. And like you, I did shows on Zoom that people were like, hey, you know, we're doing a sketch comedy show, but I'm not technical. So when it was like my turn, you know, when they bring you on and it's like, fuck, my turn is in 2 minutes. Let me drink some more wine. I would keep a giant bottle of wine next to me because the only way I could do this is inebriated. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
sent us like an amazing.
I kind of understand that.
So we're going to show your video right now.
Okay.
Okay. And thank you. This is great.
Thank you.
She got a buffer.
And shadows fell on your face. Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I then? When darkness conquered your grace. Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I when your walls caved in? Where was I when you broke your skin? Where was I when I lost a friend? Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I then? When emptiness stole your faith. Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I then? When you had nothing left to break. Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I when I missed the end? Where was I when your spirit bent? Where was I when I lost a friend? Where was I then? Where was I then? Where was I then? When you asked me to my face, where have you been? Where have you been? Where was I then?
Beautiful. Wow. Ugh. That is just so beautiful.
Thank you.
How long did you know your friend for?
Oh, over 10 years, a little over 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a very close, very, very close friend of mine.
I, I can tell from the lyrics, and dealing with things like suicide is tough.
Yeah, it was very tough, and I didn't really know how to process it initially. It's kind of making me emotional now. Sorry, every time I
No, it's
talk.
okay. People get emotional. I had tears in my eyes, and I didn't even know this woman. Oh, it's a
Yeah,
very
it's
emotional.
so hard. It's a hard thing for me to talk about,
Yeah, I
um,
hear you. I just
but
want to say thank you for calling out something that many of us have had to deal with now with our friends, and certainly as time goes by, it seems to happen more and more. And it's a tough thing. So
it's very sad, and so many people die every day. I think
right,
at the end of the video, I think I put one person every 40 seconds in the U.S.
you
dies of
did,
suicide.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's something that I really feel strongly about. You know, um, and yeah, it was hard to deal with. I had a lot of regrets, not knowing if I was there enough, or just didn't see the signs enough. I knew she'd struggle with mental health issues, and um, she hit a lot of it pretty well. Um, yeah, it
And
was a
I
bit
would
of a,
say, by the way, that is quite typical, because you ask yourself, why didn't I see it? Well, maybe it wasn't obvious enough. And then and this is something I've learned and I've talked about with friends when we've lost someone that way. Was it a fine line between, wanting to end their life, or did they just do this thing on the impulse, not not thinking one way or the other, because that can happen too. Either way,
yeah,
what you hit upon, we're the ones that are left behind. We're the ones that are left with the guilt and wanting to know what happened, and we don't have an answer for that. But you made such an incredible tribute and a beautiful video to go with it. So
thank you. Yeah, I did that. I produced and directed that all myself, so
you
I
did
was
all that.
pretty.
Wow.
Yeah, I had that actress is I had an actress who was in the video, named Christelle Lorraine, who was really great.
She
But
was so perfect for, the emotion on her face and everything.
yeah, she did a fantastic job. So I really wanted to get that across in the video. So um, I'm lucky that
You
I
know
did.
what? You certainly did. So everybody, if you just tuned in, you're watching If These Walls Could Talk with our amazing guest, Baywood. So your new album,
Yes.
the compilation of the music that is in that album was developed over how long?
Uh, 5 years, I guess.
Five years.
About 5 years. I mean, so the album is um has a lot of songs that I already released as singles. And so I really wanted to and then there's a couple songs in there that are new. Um, but I just wanted to put a full album out with everything, so I had a full, album, and I was careful how I selected the songs on the album. There was some that I wanted to put on there, but it just didn't fit. So
Right. I would imagine that
yeah.
everything has got to work together.
Yeah, and I really wanted to have, the first song is a new song called "Way Back Home," and that song is was really inspired by my loved ones, and trying to, when we go through things, try to get back to a place of peace and happiness. And so it's a very song about kind of feeling lost, and then the "Back to Life" is a song sort of about getting yourself back to life. And so I wanted to create, a flow with the album, not only lyrically but also sonically as well.
So, no, yeah, I know
Yeah.
that's it. There's a lot of elements that go into an album like that. But you chose the song "Back to Life" for the name for the album.
Yes.
What
I did.
was about those words that
I think because, I like I said before, I struggle with anxiety and depression, and anyone who struggles with that, especially depression, you often feel like one of the lines is, "I feel like a dead man walking,"
yeah,
and it is like that. You feel like you're not fully alive. You're just kind of going through the motions, and sometimes
right,
not even going through the motions. You're just in bed, not feeling great. So but the positive in that song is about bring me back. I need to be back. It's time for me to come back
right.
and so yeah, so that's why, and I thought that's why I chose the name for the album, because I think a lot of the music is sort of a story of kind of getting back yourself back to life.
Well, from everything that I read about you and about it and about the time that you released it, for me, this is what spoke to me that for many of us, this last almost 3 years at this point, I can't believe I'm saying that. It's
Oh, I
like
know.
where are we? Like, where are we coping? Are we doing okay? I could never really answer that, and I couldn't find anyone to really play it off of because I feel like we were just there's nothing that's happened in our lifetime where the rug was pulled out from under everybody in the world.
Right. I know.
I remember I'm very into electronic dance music, and I think it was either Paul Van Dyke or Armin van Buuren started running these shows during the pandemic that you could listen to, and
Yeah.
people would comment. This is what blew me away. People would comment from all over the world that somebody like in Tagistan was feeling the same way I was.
Right.
And
I remember that. I remember that.
right.
Yeah.
And when I was going through your new album, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this really is back to life because we were in this place, this crazy place, and now we're all just finding footing again, really.
Yeah. Yeah. We are.
You
So
know,
yeah, it's crazy how much we kind of lost those 2 years. I mean, I'm still foggy brained about what day is what. you know.
yeah, I'm so happy that you said that now because you know what? I always think, oh, it's just me. I don't understand. Like I'm a Capricorn and I'm the most organized person in the
Oh, I
world.
love Capricorns.
Thank you. What sign are
My
you?
pa- my my partner is actually a Capricorn, and
Oh,
I'm a
you're
Taur.
kidding.
No, and I'm a Taurus.
We get along great
We
with
get
Taurus.
along really good.
I'm January 15th, but
Wow.
I'm for me to like not know what freaking day it is, and even now as and I'm running all these podcasts and I'm booking guests and I'm getting lots of things myself now. But even with that, I have 3 calendars now because I don't know what fucking day it
I know
is.
what you mean. I know what you mean.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are on like the last couple of minutes of this part of our show. Everybody stay tuned because we'll continue on after this. But this is the part that we do for Glue TV. So I'm going to wrap it up a little bit. I'd like to know what you want to let people know about what's up and coming for you, Baywood.
Well, so I have another song coming out at the end of the month with a duet that I did with a guy named Daniel Capillaro, who I wrote another song with. So that's coming out. I'm planning on this year writing with a lot more producers, new producers. So there's going to be a lot more, I'd say, upbeat stuff. It's probably still going to be, some darker topics. But there'll be a lot of new stuff coming up, and I'm hopefully going to be able to come over to the East Coast and do
Yay.
a show over there. So
Oh my
yeah.
God. That would absolutely be great. And where can people find you? Where's the best place for them to find you?
On Instagram, I'm at BAYWUD, BAYWUD. And then if you want to follow me on Spotify or Apple Music or any of the
You're on all
platforms, you can find me on there.
okay. And do you have a
Yeah.
YouTube channel also?
I do actually. Yeah, it's if you just type in at BAYWUD on YouTube, you can find me there.
Great. That
Yeah.
is terrific. It's so great having you here. Thank you for being here really
Oh
today
my.
and for sharing like a lot of real things with
Well,
us here.
thank you for having me, Wendy. I really am so honored to be on your show. So thanks for having me.
This is great. And we will be right back with the next part of our show. So thank you, everybody. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty. So I always start off this part with comments, and it would be great if I were so good that I knew how to scroll this thing. You don't know, babe, with what I go through. It's just not
Oh,
easy.
oh God.
Okay. All right. But we have on here today, Patrick. Your official video for the album title track Back to Life came out late March. Look out for the duet with Daniel, Stand By You, and that's out March 29th. My friend, we have people that tune in from Canada as well. Howard Kazuska, thank you so much for being here today, and a host of others. So let's talk about where you are in your life right now. Are you, do you feel you're getting balanced to where you want to be with your music?
I definitely do. 100%. Yeah, I definitely do. I feel very, very, yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good place right now. I'm also in a really good loving relationship. So that's been nice.
How,
Nice
how
to,
long have you been in a relationship for now?
we've been together for about 5 years.
Oh, that's great.
I'm probably going to say that wrong. And he's watching. He's going to probably,
Is he watching? Ask him how many
um,
years. It's
I
been.
don't even know if I think it's five.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fabulous. So at least you got to put things in place before the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know if I said this, but I've had a lot of bad relationships in my life, a lot of
No, you
toxic
didn't. You didn't
relationships.
say that. You had a lot of. Okay, so that's news to me. You had a lot of toxic relationships,
I
but
did. Yeah.
how great. This is what I say to people. There's somebody out there for everyone. You just have to believe enough that you're going to attract that person.
Yeah.
They say you have. Oh, this is such a cliche. You got to kiss a lot of toads before you find a prince.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is it toads or frogs?
uh I don't
They're
know, Wendy. I think
amphibians.
yeah, anything that's an amphibian, I guess. No, I
Right.
think it's frog. Kiss the frog, I
It,
think.
you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince. So you know what? That's very lucky for you.
Yeah.
And so I also know. I always have to bring up my animal thing. I live with a parrot, two Angora rabbits, and a long-haired Chihuahua, and nothing is caged. They're all trained
Oh
to go on paper, except
wow.
for the Chihuahua that pees everywhere.
Oh
But
no.
I was looking at your social media. You had a dog, Rambo.
I did. I
Yeah.
did. That was a tough one to lose him because I had him for a while and he was with me through all of my, relationships and
Right.
all of my heartbreak and heartache and my drug addiction. He was like my little baby. And
Well,
so
not you know what? Not I tell people this because Nugget, forget it. I
yeah,
always
yeah,
say when Nugget goes, Mama wants to go too. I
yeah,
don't know how
yeah.
I'm gonna go on.
It was a hard thing to deal
It's
with.
hard.
I luckily he had gotten um like kidney failure towards the end of his life, and so the doctor said you could bring him in and poke him with needles and
Yeah,
give him
right. They
dialysis,
do
and I
that.
said, I said I don't want him for his last. He was
Right.
an older dog, and I don't want to put him through that. So I had someone come to my house and they put him down in my lap, and it was really hard, but it was also beautiful in a way
Right.
because I was there with him and he was at home and he felt comfortable and
Right. You did nothing was
yeah.
like cold or clinical or happening elsewhere.
Yeah, so I say anybody who has to, let go of their dog that way, I would advise to find someone who can come to your house. It's a little more expensive, but it really does. I think it means a lot to the animal to have that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and even even for us,
Yeah,
have you gotten another fur baby since then?
not yet. I live in North Hollywood and I live in a house, and so I have a lot of feral cats that come around, and I've sort of adopted three of them.
Oh, that's great.
But they kind of stay outside. They come inside occasionally, but they're still pretty feral. So I feed them every morning and take care of them. So they're kind of my new fur babies. But I'm more of a dog person. But
Yeah, but this is like the perfect situation. In Pennsylvania, I also feed feral cats. I have animals
yeah.
all
I
around
mean,
me.
I
Animal,
love that. I'm an animal
no,
person too. I love
great.
animals. Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that you do. So this is, what? I never give advice. Well, that's not totally true, but I'm going to give you a piece of advice. You have a
Please, please.
great relationship. You're
Yeah.
rocking out this career. What's missing in your life, Baywood? You need to have a dog.
I know. I know. I'm gonna do that, Wendy. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
that.
you need to have,
Yeah.
because the love that they give us is like really unconditional.
Yeah.
And just to wake up and have that furry little person, I
Yeah.
never create mine, next to you in your bed is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who your partner is, it's just having that furry little being. And
Because they're
um,
always there, and they just give you unconditional love, and
they
they never.
great.
Yeah.
Like
So it's
I am the focus of Nugget's entire life. If I get out of the car when I'm in Pennsylvania to go to the supermarket, I feel his eyes on me from the time I walk out of that car. When I walk out of that
yeah.
supermarket, it doesn't matter how far away the car is. He
Yeah.
sees me. It's amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing. Yeah.
It's
Uh
totally amazing. So, yeah, do you plan on doing any touring?
that is definitely something I'm talking about. Yeah. I don't have anything set in the books yet, but I do plan on touring.
Okay, so when people do touring, you'd be promoting your album, and how do you decide like where you tour to, how big the venue is, and all of that?
I mean, I think a lot of it is also finding out where most of the people who follow and listen to my music is, to go kind of to those places. But yeah, I think I rely on probably Patrick for some of that. um,
Patrick
so
right now is singing that song "Lean
I
on
know.
Me."
Yeah, 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 yeah. I rely on him for a lot of things. So, but yeah, so yeah, I don't. Yeah, we'll see how things go, and when that can actually, when we can get that going.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's all in front of you. Now, you said you also you have music publishing, where you'll be working with films.
Yeah, so I belong to a publishing company who they basically pitch the music to film and television and commercials, and
Oh,
so
great.
so that's nice if you get on something, if you get on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, I mean, that is incredibly lucrative. I've had Randy Edelman, who
yeah,
has scored some of our biggest movies. He's been on this show, and when he comes to New York, as a matter of fact, I'm seeing him like the week after next. I'll go see his live performance. But he has scored so many movies, and his career primarily has been, doing that, and
yeah,
it's incredible.
yeah, yeah,
So that you have so many pathways open to you, which is really quite wonderful.
yeah. I feel like
There's
it's gonna be a good year. I feel like it's gonna
Yeah,
be a good year.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. You have, as we say, a lot of pots on the fire. 10 years ago, did you envision any of this for yourself? Like, I'm putting your timeline together, and I get you were in a totally different place.
Yeah, I definitely did not. I definitely did not.
It's really wonderful to watch it all come together for people.
Oh, yeah.
And you survived the cold wave that you had in
I
LA.
did. I know. I feel bad complaining about that because you guys are in New York. So when we get, rain or cold here, everyone freaks out. And
But you know what? My girlfriend's hummingbird feeder that was frozen.
yeah,
She's in Laguna.
yeah,
Um, Patrick's met her. She's fabulous, Tony. She
yeah.
shows me this frozen hummingbird feeder, and I'm like, God, people must be like flipping out. Do you even have good heat in LA, or
Yeah, I mean, I have central heating. So I do have that, but a lot of people don't.
right?
So
I know, I know Patrick went down to Palm Springs. I know a number of people in Palm
because
Springs.
his power went out.
Yeah, well, I heard so, but your power didn't go out.
Well, we had brownouts because I think that was the same night that his went out, but we were getting brownouts, and there was really heavy winds and the rain was happening, but luckily we didn't lose our power.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you were absolutely really lucky. I can't imagine when I was reading what was going on in Northern California with
With the snow and all that. Yeah.
incredible snow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I saw something on Facebook. Was the Hollywood sign? I know it was enshrouded in
There
like
was snow on there. There was snow in the
there was
Hollywood
snow.
Hills, I
Now,
believe, which we never, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen snow in LA here. Unless you go to Big Bear up in the mountains.
right, unless you go to ski or something
Yeah.
like
So
that.
it was just crazy how how cold it's been this year.
Well, first we went through the pandemic. Okay, now we can talk about climate change.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Where you need to write a song about climate change and how it's
Yeah.
affecting you
How it affects everything. Yeah.
and
I
how it
know.
affects everything. I know a lot of scientists, and I mean, you know what? This is what I said to my husband. He starts his day scrolling through like the news that comes up on his phone, where one thing is worse than the next. And I just have to stop him because you know what, there's only so much you and I can do about this.
It's true, and sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, you're not at all.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I don't even watch the news anymore, which is terrible because I should
No,
because
no, it's not
it just
true.
makes me depressed.
Right. And
Yeah.
you know what? You need to be writing your music. You need to be out there calling out these emotions and lifting up all of us, really.
Ah.
Because you're right, your songs, they do have a happy ending. And
Mhm.
your songs also help people to think and process things. And that's a very powerful tool. And if you get so caught up in the news, I know people right now, and a lot of them are artists that are immobilized by what they read.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, for the big things I'll see on, social media or
Oh,
anything,
of
I'll
course,
find
you
that out.
see
But
that. Right.
and things important like, the beginning of the pandemic, there was the BLM movement that
Yeah.
was
It
the
was
be
New York was great. I was in one of those marches, which
oh, I
right.
was in like five, I went to all so many marches.
And I will still bring this up, okay, as far as the virus goes, because my God,
Yeah.
I had COVID 4 times. I
Oh
do not
God.
understand. There were so many of us that were in those marches, and
Yeah.
nobody got COVID.
Same here. I didn't get
Right.
it either.
So
It's yeah. Yeah. I don't know what that's about.
I know.
Maybe that was
No,
like the universe looking out for us or something.
thank you very much. I went there. I thought that too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The universe is shining down on us and sending us virus-free air.
Iris free.
We're living for the virus-free air.
Exactly.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today. Let me
Thank you.
have your handles again so people know where to find you.
So Instagram, you can find me at BAYWUD, BAYWUD. YouTube at BAYWUD. And yeah, that's me.
Okay. And my very, very last question,
Yes.
Baywud, Baywud.
Uh-huh.
That has always been the spelling of it, or was it changed? Was it
It's an interesting thing because the name of I go by Michael Baywood as my writer name, but
right?
I it's basically a combination of my mother's maiden name, Bay, and my dad's surname. So that's how I came up with Baywood. And when I was initially coming out more professionally as an artist, there was a band already called Baywood.
Got
So,
with
I
WOOD.
a WOOD.
Okay,
And
got
so I said, well, I have to figure this out. So I put the U there, which is the phonetic symbol for my what's it called? My logo, sorry, has a phonetic symbol for the double O's, and it
it.
also looks like a Taurus. So that's how I kind of stuck with the U, and it's kind of silly, but
No,
that's
it's
how I
not
came up with the
spelling at
name.
all. I was saving that one till the end because,
Yeah.
but you know what? It's a name that will be on the tip of everyone's tongue, and it's not a name that anyone is going to forget anytime soon.
Oh, thank you, Wendy.
Thank you so much for being here today, Michael Baywood. Baywood to all of you out there, and make sure you take time to download Back to Life. All right, there's going to be a lot of messages in there that'll speak to you. I know because they spoke to me.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next week.